Happy full moon, Ambitchious. So I'm at the studio. Hi, I love seeing everybody's faces. I'm at KBMSC. So if you hear a little music for like 5 minutes, Matt is just finishing kickboxing class because this is how me and the big man roll. We got like 20 people downstairs. I've been coaching all day and I'm just really excited. So excuse the, I think it's like Duran Duran or some shit. I have no idea what's going on downstairs. God bless everybody that's down there. So, I mean, I do like Duran Duran, but you know, not when I'm trying to do my full moon stuff. Okay. So I had an amazing day today. I talked to such amazing women. Everybody is doing such big stuff. Like it literally makes my heart explode. So kudos to each and every one of you that are here tonight after, you know, a long day, but are really serious about doing this work. So tonight, what we're going to be doing is I have some amazing notes that I took, that I channeled this morning, some amazing journal prompts that we're going to work on today. Obviously, you guys are all going to do your fire rituals on your own, right? Sorry, I'm just letting in some people. You're all going to do your fire rituals on your own. And then I want to just end the night with some sound healing. So I just feel like I haven't done it for you guys in a long time. My bowls have been like at my house, at the studio, at my house in the studio. And I just said to myself this morning, I said, I'm going to the studio to do my calls and I am going to do sound healing. Because I just feel like that's what spirit was just telling me to do, that everybody kind of is desiring. So hopefully you will all be super into that tonight. Okay, so some of you have never done full moon rituals, and that's totally fine. So don't feel like, oh my God, I'm totally out of the loop. I don't know what I'm doing. Not a big deal. So a little bit about the full moon, just to catch everybody up. The full moon is the end of that 28-day cycle, right? So the moon gets full and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Then when you look up at the sky, when the new moon, there's absolutely no moon, right? I mean, it's there, but you just can't see it because it's not illuminated by the sun from the other side of the earth. And then it gets big again, right? So when we're doing full moon rituals, this is a time of completion. This is a time of letting go what no longer serves your highest, greatest good. Okay, whatever that means to you, right? It's getting rid of what no longer serves your highest, greatest good. So I really desire tonight for each of us to go to the next level, to do some really good introspection, because introspection is very, very, very important. And then to do our burning ritual after. So when you do your full moon ritual, what you want to do is get a piece of paper and you want to write down all of the things that are no longer serving you. So we're going to do some reflection tonight. The journal prompts that I've created are all about like reflecting. And so it's going to help you write your full moon paper that you're going to burn. So, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, this is like kind of witchy. It's really not. It's transmutation through smoke happens in church. It happens at mosques. It happens in the Buddhist religions. I mean, smoke transmutes energy. Fire purifies and the smoke transmutes, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do our journal prompts, and then you guys can do this afterwards, after you kind of like, you know, gone through everything. I want you to think back on the last 28 days of your life and like what is working and what's not working. And then what I want you to do is on your paper, you're going to write like, here are the things that are no longer serving my highest, greatest good that I release tonight. And it can be as little or as much as you desire it to be. And then what you want to do is just go outside and read it out loud. And you can just say like, full moon, I come to you today and I speak these words that no longer serve my highest, greatest good. And you can read the things out loud. And then all you do is you just take your lighter or a match and just burn it to the end, right? And then I always just like to sit under the full moon and just absorb the energy. You can charge your crystals in the full moon. You can make full moon water, whatever feels good to you. Sometimes people love to do, meditations after. So if you're feeling like, okay, I feel good, I'm going to throw in a meditation, a guided meditation, or I'm going to do some transcendental meditation and breath work, whatever feels good to you. Sometimes taking a beautiful bath with Epsom salts on a full moon just washes away all that yuck energy. So obviously, everybody's full moon rituals are different. But what I'm going to do tonight is obviously I'm going to be here with you guys. I've already written down all my stuff. So after I get off this call with you guys, I'm going to go out and I'm going to burn the stuff outside. And obviously the neighbors at the dojo and the Katie Boyd's Misfit Club already know I'm a witch because we've had the fire department here so many times, because we literally have almost burnt this place down like 10 times doing shit. And anybody that's been there when we've done it, you guys know I'm speaking truth. One time we were all in a circle holding hands, or like 50 of us doing a full moon ritual. And we forgot to call the fire department to get the burning permit. And the fire department come like full blazing, and like all these like really handsome firefighters got out of the truck, and they were like, oh fuck, like you could just see their penises like went inside their bodies, because they were like, oh my God, these witches are gonna like eat us alive and like, suck our souls. And I just didn't move. I just kept like, and then Matt handled it or whatever. And I just remember one of the firemen like walked backwards into his truck. Like he would not turn his back on us. He literally like walked backwards. Okay, you ladies have a good night. And I was like, whatever. So they know. So I'll go outside a little bit. I'll burn my paper. And then when I get home, I'm going to take a Epsom salts bath and just soak and listen to beautiful music and just chill. I'm going to charge my crystals. I'm going to make some moon water. Nothing too crazy, but make your full moon ritual your own. Okay. So let's get out our journal or your pen and paper, whatever you have. And let's start with the journal prompts that are going to help open up your mind to the things that you should be letting go of. Okay. All right. So let's start with number one. And you don't have to do all this work tonight. This could be, over the next couple days. People always ask me, is the full moon energy just on the night of the full moon? And I always say 3 days before and 3 days after the moon energy, that full moon energy is still very strong. So like if you have another Zoom after this Zoom tonight, you have something to do with your kids or whatever, and you can't do it tonight, do it tomorrow or do it Friday. No big deal. Okay. No stress. No stress in the manifest. Okay. All right. So the first journal prompt is, what are the things that I would like to accomplish in the next 28 days? What are the things that I would like to accomplish in the next 28 days? So, 28 days seems like really long, but I don't know about you guys, but man, October just like flew by, like in the blink of an eye, just flew by. I don't know why it did. I don't know what the energy was, if it was like the Mercury retrograde energy, I have no idea, but it was like September went by slow as molasses, and October was like doing 90 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. I was like, oh my Lord. So what are the things that I would like to accomplish in the next 28 days? Use the Ambitchious life makers maybe to help you with that. So think about like, what would I like to accomplish with my spiritual practices? What would I like to accomplish with my feelings, emotions, and fierce boundaries? What would I like to accomplish with my health and optimal wellness? What would I like to accomplish with my relationships in my life? What would I like to accomplish with my environment, you know? And what would, last but not least, what would I like to accomplish with my money mindset? And maybe that will be a good guide to help you answer those questions. The next one that I came up with is, what is one thing that I have been holding? What is one thing that has been holding me back in the last 28 days? So think back from now until, you know, the mid-September. What is one thing that you were like, okay, this was really a problem? It could be like, hey, I said I was going to do, because I've talked about this a lot today. I said I was going to do A2AP with a bunch of girls and I bailed, you know? Or I said I was going to do yoga 5 days a week and I only did once a week, okay? I said that I was going to break up with my boyfriend who's like a schlumperdink, right? Just like a flaccid penis, okay? I don't know, whatever that means to you guys. What was it? What was the one thing that you were like, I know for a fact that I gave my power away to this thing? That's going to help you immensely as you let things go tonight. The next one is, what are 5 intentions that I will set for the next 28 days? What are 5 intentions? So you can even write it like, I intend to fill in the blanks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was talking to Kathleen today, and she was saying how she was talking to, I think Andrea Birdsell, and she was like, okay, we're gonna do A2AP, you know, whatever, starting next month, or starting next week, or starting whatever. Or like maybe that's an intention. Maybe you say, okay, I'm gonna fast. I'm gonna start doing my 48-hour fast every week. I am going to, you know, start really carving out that hour in the morning to do my journaling, to do my meditations, to move my body, to set my intentions, right? I don't know what each and every one of us are kind of struggling with, or, you know, we're all struggling with something, I'm sure. For me, I haven't really been bad with movement. I've been like really good with movement. I could say, you know, my food could probably be a lot better. But so maybe it's like, hey, I'm really going to follow, if you're following the In the Flow diet, I'm really going to follow that meal plan. You know, I'm really going to sync with my cycle. I'm really going to take the next steps to do this next thing in my life with my business, whatever that means to you. Okay. So set 5 intentions. What are the 5 intentions that you're going to set for the next 28 days? Has anybody been having like crazy ass dreams lately, or is it just me? I've been having the wildest. Okay. So this is why I came up with the 4th prompt, because I was like, I'm having some crazy ass dreams. All my girls must be having some crazy ass dreams. I feel like the energy right now is super intense. And I feel like the veil, I'm going to be woo-woo for a second. I feel like the veil is so thin between like here and like the other. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to be like, woo, but like, I feel like I'm so close to my ancestors. That reminds me, I'm going to talk about making an altar. Right, Jess? 100%. It does get thin this time of year. We're coming up to Halloween. If you're Catholic, we're coming up to All Saints Day, right? Or Christian. If you're Spanish and you do Dia de Muertos, that's coming up, right? And Samhain, if you follow, you know, Samhain, it's also spelled, a lot of people call it Samhain, Samhain, but it's called Samhain, and it's an ancient pagan festival. And what happened was people took that Samhain and they made Halloween, right? So all of this stuff is happening right now. And I was listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about, we are in the in-between time of the in-between time, meaning we are smack dab in the middle of the 2 solstices, which is pagan, right? Which is like Gallic and all that, which is Samhain. And so the veil gets very thin this time of year. And I feel like I'm doing a lot of like this kind of like thin veil work while I sleep. So my dreams are like really crazy. So the next thing is describe the dreams in your journal that you've been having and what you think that they mean. And if you even want to go one step further, talk about okay, say if you're like, for the last 3 days, I've had like a reoccurring dream where I'm dreaming of a snake. Okay, I'm just throwing something out there. Well, what does a snake mean? Go and Google snake meaning or symbolism in your dreams. Because you think like, oh, it's a snake, but it's not. It could mean like you're doing something that's forbidden. It could mean like, you're slithering around something. I don't know. I've had snake dreams before, but Google it. Go search, like, what does these things mean to me? And try to figure out what your dreams mean, because dreams, I actually, people say like, oh, when I go to sleep is just another dimension of reality. And just so you know, when you sleep in your dream time, you are doing hardcore work. A lot of people say to me, Katie, I sleep like 10 hours a night and I still don't feel like rested. And I said, yeah, because you're doing work in your sleep. You're doing spiritual work in your sleep. You could be cleaning up old karmic ties. You could be righting wrongs from past lives. Like, we don't know where we go when we sleep. I think, I have an idea where we go. I think we astrally project and we're connected by a tether and we can go do work during that dream time. Like, what do your dreams mean? And what kind of dreams are you having? Describe them. And what do you think they mean? And if you want to go that one step further, go and search out, like, what does it mean when I dream of this? I wake up all the time. I search online, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? The more you know yourself, the more you can connect to your higher self, right? And then the fifth thing is, how can I feel more connected to myself in the next 28 days? How can I feel more connected to myself during the next 28 days? Big time. The more connected and grounded we are to our dreams, hopes, goals, desires, and aspirations, the better and more efficient work that we can do, right? The next journal prompt that I'd like you guys to work on in the next couple of days is, how can I feel more connected to the divine? So whatever that means to you, if that's God, if that's universe, if that's Buddha, if that's Allah, whatever, does not matter to me. Whatever your three-dimensional self feels is the connection to the divine. So how can you connect more to the divine in the next 28 days? That could be, more meditation, more yoga, more going out into nature, right? I don't know if you guys saw, I'll post it, but I ordered this, like, it's a bed for my yard. I don't know if you guys have seen my bed in my yard, but it's literally a bed, and everyone's like, oh yeah, you and Matt, you guys must be really using that. I like say to them, I'm like, actually, I bought it so I can lay on my back and look at the stars at night. I swear to. And people are like, oh, okay. And Matt's like, she's telling the truth. She's telling the truth. But like, when I lay on that bed, and I used to just lay on the ground because I'm a ghetto and I don't care. I'm just like dirty, wet, I don't care. But when I lay on that bed and I look up at the stars at night, it's like, man, we are so small, but so connected to all that there is. So how can you feel more connected? For me, it's like going out in nature. It's looking at the stars, like at night, I'll go out, put the fire on, and I'll like just play music, and I will just like listen to the animals in the woods making sounds. Like, I don't know what that means to you, but like, I'm just giving you guys some ideas of like what I do. The other night I took a bath and I just put on like, I swear, it's like my poor neighbors, I'm sure they think I'm nuts if they knew, but I put on like fairy music and I put like candles in the bathroom and I just like lay there and I just like float in the bathtub and I'm just like, this is fun. And it's like black in there. And like, you're floating, you don't even know where like the water begins and like you end. And like, that makes me feel like connected to a higher power, it could be prayer. I do the rosary every day. And it's so funny because Emily one of our soul sisters was like, oh, I did the rosary the other day. And I was like, oh my God, how did it feel? And she's like, it just felt so good. She was like, I haven't done my rosary in a really long time. I do the rosary every day. I feel so connected. I feel like when I pray the rosary, I actually cry while I'm doing it. It's so deep for me, you know? But I feel like that when I meditate too. I feel like that when I do sound healing. I feel like that when I do breath work. So how can you connect more to the divine, more to that universal consciousness in the next 28 days? And last but not least, and this is going to parlay into the next thing I want to talk about, how can I feel more connected in the next 28 days to my loved ones? How can I feel in the next 28 days more connected to my loved ones? I have an altar at my home, and I have pictures of all of my ancestors, and I have all kinds of little trinkets and little doodads and little things that mean something to me. And I was listening to something, I don't remember what it was. If I find it, I'll share it on the page. But do you know, for us to just be here right now on this Zoom, looking at each other's faces, 7,000 generations had to come before us to create us. 7,000 generations. So if 7,000 generations equal one woman, that means 7,000 men had to procreate with our great, 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 great in perpetuity grandmothers. So that's 14,000 humans had to come before us for us to be here right now. Just like, can we just like wrap our heads around that? Like, whoa. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. We are breaking ancestral curses and epigenetic DNA problems that we have inherited from generation to generation to generation. And think about it too, because, you know, Samhain is coming, right? It's like, oh, it's Halloween and the witches are coming out and all this stuff, right? So think about it. Think about 7,000 of our grandmothers back through the ages and what they dealt with, what they endured, what they experienced. And to really be quite frank, they escaped persecution and death. And like, if you do have ancestors, which I'm sure every person here, if you came from a European country, Germany, even like, you know, South America, I mean, everywhere in the world, back in the day, when the divine goddess, the female archetype, that divine feminine energy, when she was just so powerful, because remember, most tribes were matriarchal. Women ran the tribes. Men were the warriors, they'd go out and do shit, but women like held that shit down and they were doing it, right? How many women in our lineage escaped being burnt at the stake for us to be here? I mean, like, let's be serious. How many women had to have sickness, illness, disease, recover from that sickness, illness, disease, and birth our ancestors for us to be sitting here right now? Like, I have chills just saying this. So think about that, 14,000 humans to create us through the ages, across millennia, through space and time, for us to be here right now. So what the actual fuck are y'all scared of? To step into your power and to be the most ambitious that you can be. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. If our grandmothers and great-grandmothers and great-great-great-great-great-grandmothers knew who we were and how we were living and the power that we yield, we would not even be afraid to launch the business, to step into our power, to leave the person, to, you know, be who we were put here on earth to be. So I am challenging everybody, and I want us all to take pictures of our altars. I'm challenging everybody here to create an altar at their home. And this is not like a pagan thing. Like, altars are in every religion. They're in every belief system. They're in every spiritual system, okay, no matter what it is. to create an altar. And I will find, like, I have a bunch of good things that I found on the internet today, but how to create an actual, like, really create an altar. I'm just gonna Google the one that hold on, make altar for your ancestors. Ancestors. Okay. So when you create an ancestral altar, you're acknowledging the people who came before you with all of their flaws and all their issues and all their, like, we all have it, right? And it's connecting you through space and time, but it's also saying, look at you, you get to be the ambitious bolt cutter of the chains that have been draped around your ancestors for millennia, right? Remember how I always talk about how when your grandmother is pregnant with your mother, you were also with her and your mom, you were all three together. So think about what our grandmothers, some of our grandmothers obviously lived in harder times than others, but think about, like, what your grandmothers went through when they were pregnant with your mother. Were they in abusive relationships, right? Were they immigrating? Were they fleeing a country because of religious persecution, right? Did they have the story where they came to this country with, $7 in their pockets? Think of, like, what that woman endured, and your mother was in her womb and you were in your mother's womb as an egg. So everything that your grandmother endured, it passed to your mother epigenetically and energetically into you. And then we wonder why we have all these fears and we have all these blocks. But by creating an ancestral altar, you are connecting with all of your ancestors who came before you, who chose to give you life. And it just connects you with this higher power. And it helps remind you, like, how blessed you are to be here and how powerful you are to be here at this time and to step into that power. I've been having so many conversations with people over the last couple of months, and they're like, I'm just afraid to show up in this way. I'm just afraid to do this. I'm afraid to say something wrong. We're living in a time right now where cancel culture is so big, right? And I say to people, like, why are you afraid? Why are you afraid of speaking your truth? Why are you afraid of showing up? But if you think about epigenetically, ancestrally, what our grandmothers and our great grandmothers and our great grandmothers have endured, if they spoke out, they could have been burned at the stake. If they said too much or got too powerful, people would be like, oh, she's a loose woman and she's a whore and she's, and she would be a pariah or wear a scarlet letter on her chest. So even though that's not happening now, right? We don't have the scarlet letters on our chest. We're not, like, getting thrown out of the tribe. Physically, it's still a fear. Like, remember in Outwitting the Devil, the fear of criticism? That's a real thing. And it's not just like, oh, you're a pussy and you're, like, not stepping up. It's in your DNA to be afraid, to be different. Because when you're different or you go against the grain, they're gonna kick you out of the tribe. And what happens if you get kicked out of the tribe or you get kicked out of the community? You could be burned at the stake, you could be murdered, or you could just have to go out and live in the woods and you might die of the elements, or an animal might, eat you, or you might die of frostbite. I mean, this is real shit. I know these are things that we don't think about today, but it's the same exact thing, but instead we're getting canceled, right? People are coming for us on social media. Our families are talking shit about us. Maybe people don't want to be friends with us and they spread rumors and lies about us, right? It still is real. So I'm challenging you all in the next 28 days to obviously do this work, to do the journal work, but to create an altar, okay? So maintaining, I'm just reading this thing that I had saved, but maintaining a connection with our dead ancestors is a foreign concept to the majority of Americans because Christianity obviously permeates our culture. And Christianity, and I'm a Catholic, Christianity teaches that death is a concrete ending, and many approach the subject of death and dying with morbid fear and confusion. But for those who are seeking to practice, alter creation, it can be difficult to address the ingrained fears and establish a new understanding of the cycles of life and death, right? When I went to school, right, and I was actually talking to Joanne today, right, it was like, okay, you're taught when you die, go to heaven or you go to hell, and then like you get judged and this is what happens. And maybe that's true. I don't know, I ain't God. I ain't trying to be God, but that's the way that I was raised. But what if like death is literally like the start of a whole new life? What if death is literally the most beautiful thing? And what if like we can make these altars and have these almost power posse, how I talk about power posse in my book, these power posse conversations and these power posse connections with our ancestors, maybe ancestors that we don't even know, right? So creating this altar, I'm giving you some time to do this. And as we create the altar, I would love for you guys to just post your altars on our app so everyone gets like, super excited and pumped and maybe inspired. And I want you to talk about who's on your altar. Like, this is my grandmother, this is my mother, this is my grandfather, this is my, my dad, this is my great-great-grandfather. Where were they from? What did they endure? Especially the women, like tell their story. We have such an opportunity right now in 2021 going into 2022 that we have, like, no one is holding us back. No one is saying, don't say that, don't do this, right? Our great-great-grandmothers, and even, further back, they couldn't show up the way we're showing up. And we're taking that for granted. Can you imagine if our great-great-great-great-grandmothers had, social media or a website or a blog, or, they could tweet their feelings? Like, so much died with them. So let's not allow that to happen to us. So creating an ancestor altar. So first of all, you want to find your space, and you want like a table, obviously a little table. I was talking to Heather Everlin today, and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're talking about altars tonight, because I just was saying I want to create like an altar in her meditation space. Wood tables, because of the elements, like work the best for energy, but glass is acceptable. Natural stone does not matter. And the table can be, big. It could be a credenza. It could be a buffet table. It could be, a little side table. It doesn't matter the size. And what's nice is to have like a smaller table that you can actually kneel down in front of, or like sit in front of and meditate, if that can be a thing. It's really nice to have like a cloth on your altar. Like on my altar, I have like one of my grandmother's little like doilies. Remember doilies? Fucking hated those things. Cause then she'd be like, fix the doily on the thing. Like when you get up from the seat, she'd be like, fix the doily. I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking doily. Now I have it. I have what my Nana's like teacups. Like when she passed away, when she was really sick, she was dying of pancreatic cancer. And she said, what do you want me to leave you? And I said, I don't care about anything else. I just really would love your teacups, because every day after school, she had this beautiful bone china teacups, like 50 of them. And they were on this beautiful credenza, like buffet thing. And every day after I come home from school, like we'd have tea. And I loved that. It was such like an amazing experience for me. So I have, oh my God, I'm like moving. I'm like, just went to my chat and I just saw everybody chatting, and I apologize. Aileen says the fourth prompt is describe the dream and what you think it means. Yeah, so describe your dreams that you've been having, and then like what you interpret it as. And if, like I said, and if you want to go deeper, you can actually like really search. Sandra says, what happens if you pretty much look at the clock every hour and only get a few hours of sleep? My question is, are you actually dreaming? Some people, like I dream the most right before I wake up in the morning. Joanne says, I have a million doilies. My mom makes them. Stop it. Yeah. Oh my God, the doilies. They give me life. They didn't give me life though when I was little, but oh my God, Christina's saying my mom made them too. That must have been like the old school thing, right? So find a cloth for your altar, a doily, some beautiful fabric, right? And then they always say when you're making an altar, avoid like dark colored cloth. I don't know, it probably just holds a lighter energy, right? And then the first thing on your altar should be like if you're Catholic, your Bible. If you're Christian, you know, put your Bible on your altar. Or if you're not Christian and you're just like, hey, I'm a spiritual bitch, put like a book on your altar that like really kind of connects with you. You can put Ambitchious on your altar if you want. Some kind of book that you love. Jeannie says, I was just speaking to someone who worked in making a doily making factory. What is happening? This is so funny. Okay. Wow, that's weird. Damn, girl. Jess says my Katie candle. Yeah, you can put your Katie candle on your altar. Absolutely. And remember, every color candle has a different meaning, right? So green is great for money, right? Right now, this time of year, red candles are really great for summoning the energy of your ancestors. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to put on your altar pictures of your ancestors, right? So I actually texted my mom the other day because I was like, hey, can you bring me and like make copies of like some of like the pictures of my grandparents and my grandparents when they were younger. Like I have this like really handsome picture of my grandfather who was born in 1909. So my mom's dad was actually born in 1919, sorry. My mom was like the change of life baby. They had like her when they were like much older. And my grandfather has his high school picture and he looks like so handsome. And I only have like older pictures of my grandfather. There's just something about having younger pictures of your ancestors. It just like reminds you like, remember they were just like me. So putting those pictures of your ancestors on your altar. And then, you know, you can put like, I love like sage or Palo Santo, or I have some really beautiful smudge sticks that are made of like lavender and roses, things like that. It's always really nice to put fresh flowers on your altar, right? And some people like, you ever go to the nail salon and the Vietnamese ladies, like they'll have the little kitty cat with like the oranges and all this shit. And I used to be like, what? When I was little, I would be like, what are these people doing? But that's their altar, right? They're giving, you know, like the fruit is like an offering. You know, you can do fruit, you can put, you know, your crystals on your altar. And also something that like maybe belonged to them. Like I have my grandmother's teacups. Maybe you have a doily. Maybe you have a handkerchief. Like I have my grandfather's hanky that he used to like he was like an old school gentleman and he always had like a hanky if like a girl had a runny nose or she was crying, like the old school shit, right? And then you could also put like divination tools. Like if you want to put your tarot deck or you want to put, you know, like I said, different crystals. You want to put a crucifix if you're Catholic or Christian, whatever, you know, you're into. And then what you want to do is you want to put just a little bowl of water. And that bowl of water, it's going to trap any kind of negative energy. So sometimes like I'll go to my altar and I'll pray and I'll just like say to, you know, my grandmother's like, you know, I'm struggling with this thing, like, you know, some people call it the evil eye, right? Or like when I'm Portuguese, so we, you know, they believe in the evil eye, but they don't call it that, you know? So, but my grandmother would pretty much say like, you gotta, yeah, I have the figa, it's called the figa, right? So it's like this thumb thing. I have a necklace, right? So it's like, you know, they put the bad eye on you. Like they put the, you know, I'm not saying to go get a rooster and kill it like my grandmother would. Like, remember they used to do this shit? Like they would like be like, we have to go to the witch lady in the neighborhood and like she's gonna take the evil eye off you and all this crap. Like we don't have to get into all of that stuff because no one has an evil eye on us because we're perfect in every way. But the water will help trap any negative energy. And then just chuck your water once a week, throw it out. you know, put it on your grass or whatever. And sometimes people will put like saints, like if you're Catholic and you're like, oh, I love Saint Michael, or I love, Saint Francis or Mother Mary. It's really, really, really cool. Jess goes, I'm fading. Get ready for better rituals. We'll be back soon. Good night, Lovey. Good night. Love you. You can watch sound healing. You can listen to sound healing tomorrow. So I'm going to have you guys, as you make your altars, post them, talk about your ancestors. And I think that will be really awesome. Okay. Because I think the more that we connect with our ancestry and we realize like we are breaking these old ancestral lineage passed down bullshit. Like we, in 7,000 generations, we are the #1 people to fix this. Like how, that's pretty freaking empowering. It's pretty empowering, right? Okay, so you have your journal prompts. The second thing is making your altar, start creating your altar, and it's a work in progress. You can keep adding to it as we go. And it's a really great place also just to pray or to meditate at, or just like before you leave the house in the morning, like ask your ancestors, like, hey, be with me, give me strength today, watch over me. Fill me with your divine wisdom. Fill me with your, your ancient energy. Because we have ancestors we don't even know exist. So do the work. All right. So let's do a little sound healing just to get everything incorporated. So let's go ahead and close our eyes. Get comfy. I'm going to get back over here to my bowls that I put out earlier. So let's go ahead and take 3 deep breaths together. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath in through your nose, filling up your lungs, exhaling all the way out. Inhaling in through your nose, filling up your lungs, exhaling all the way out. Last one, inhaling in through your nose, filling up your lungs, exhaling all the way out. God, Goddess, universal life, force, energy, full moon. Fill us with your light and your love and your ancient wisdom. Surround us. Help us let go of all the things that no longer serve our highest, greatest good, that we are allowing to pull us back from stepping into all of our power. In Jesus' name, and so it is, and thank you in advance. will start to become more aware of your body and your surroundings. Start by wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Just bring a little bit of life back in. And then when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Nice job. Okay. So you are aligned. You're ready to do the work. So get out there, write your stuff down, go ahead and burn it outside, and then do all your rituals. And then if you want, you can start your journaling tomorrow. It does not matter to me. And start making your altar. And then Kim and I are going to hold you accountable. We're going to keep talking and having altar talks over on the app. And as you get your altars done, start posting them, start telling your ancestor stories. And I think it would just be a really, really, really fun thing to do. So if you have any questions, you know where to find me. And I love you guys, and full moon blessings to each and every one of you. And I will see you mañana. Love you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.